I've wanted to run a 2:45 for a good while. I've had friends that have done it. I've seen the work that's gone in and what's needed to get there. I achieved a sub-3 hour marathon at Brighton a couple of years ago, and it's been bugging me as the next target. Obviously you got 2:50, 2:45, and from my recent half marathon times, I know what's capable to get there. And I've hit the times needed across a half marathon. That would indicate I could do a 2:45. It's a target that scares me, because I don't know if I can do it, but it's that ambition to drive and push on to achieve it that I'm really looking forward to. It gives me a strong purpose day to day with my training. Having that challenge for me is huge. Alex for me is someone that I really respect as a professional. He's actually come and done talks with my clients. It's something I've wanted to do for a while. It's always good to look under the hood, as I would say, of what's working, what's not, your strengths, your weaknesses, and it allows me to walk away with things to work on, which is then going to impact not necessarily my running block or what I'm doing, but it affects how I do it in terms of my movement, efficiency, and it keeps me injury-free, which is most important. So initially we went through a bit of a movement assessment just to see range of motion through the main patterns. So it's pretty simple to start with and something I'm aware of and do with my clients as well. But having the expert's eyes on it makes a big difference. So a big shout out to Alex for that.
Interesting. So when you think about the Gait cycle, again, if you're running or walking, what I want to see happen is you load right over onto one side. Yeah. All of this effectively stretches, acts like an elastic band ready to fire you forward. In your side flexion, one thing that definitely doesn't happen, less so when you go down the right hand side than the left, is this weight shift across. This all moves quite well, but actually you're getting your weight across from side to side just naturally doesn't happen very effectively. Again, quite common with people that like an extension based posture. Can I just see you do double leg calf raise? Down and again. Cool. Down. No injuries on that right side before?
No,
it's just a lot smaller, that calf.
Yeah.
Again, it might be previous tear, it might just be anatomically that is smaller.
On some of the other movements, for example, my right hamstring, there was a lot more of a weakness there.
See that? It was like it's cramping already.
Where?
Right hamstring.
Right hamstring, cool. Definitely harder on this side, keep going.
Yeah, so much harder.
And that heel keeps dropping, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. That's fine. Interesting.
I could only hold 36 seconds compared to the left side, which I was well over the 60 seconds. So I know in terms of things I need to work on, that right hamstring needs to get up to the same as the left. So I'm not overusing one side.
So just to quickly explain the relevance of that test and why it's important. Floor, foot, shin bone, knee, thigh bone and hip.
Yeah.
You're running along, your foot hits the floor, but you've got the equal force of the floor coming back up at you, so you need to absorb that really well. If you did it efficiently, you would have this 25% of shared force exposure across calf, hamstring, quad and glute. What I want you to hit on that test is 60 seconds both sides. Left side you hit that, right side you hit 35 seconds with hamstring cramp.
Yeah.
The good thing is you're not injured, so we can just pick these things up and it can just make you more resilient, more robust and train harder essentially. But the easy way to think about this is if this isn't doing 25% and let's say it's doing 15 for the want of any number, there's plus 10 that has to go somewhere. That's why I asked you, do you manage any niggles? Do you get like tightness? Exactly, and it's like, oh, my calf, Achilles gets a bit sore, you can go right, that goes there.
Yeah.
I get a bit of soreness through my hip, that goes there. Real easy, basic way to understand it, but there's a real clear goal there for us to work towards.
Exercise that he recommended was foam roller in a glute bridge position, toes pointing up, and trying to add 5 seconds ideally each week, as well as the strength work that I'm going to be implementing. That's going to hopefully bring that 36 seconds up to the 60 seconds, and then we haven't got any compensations on either side, meaning I can be a lot more of a well-balanced runner. As for the plyometric testing we went through, We had a bit of a profiling across obviously strength, plyometrics. We was in a range of different tests. Some of them I was really good at. I managed to get some good drive through and get some good height, and we could see I was strong in some areas.
3, 2, 1, jump. Nice, mate. Jump. 3, 2, 1, jump. Move the stuff, mate. It crept up by 0.1 of a centimetre every single test. 43.1, 44, 44.1. Spot on.
Other areas that included a lot more coordination were much more of a struggle.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can go again.
This could be a factor of things. One, my balance isn't great, first off, but secondly, I had a pretty heavy training week, which, as Alex said, makes it a lot tougher sometimes when you're going into some of these movements. But the positive is we've got things to work on to come off the back of that. So by the time we come into the marathon prep, but not just for that, just day-to-day life and coordination you need is going to be a big factor across everything. So I'm hoping that makes a big difference. So I'm looking forward to getting into those and working on those weaknesses. We also went through a few different movements of obviously that ankle isolation push through on the bar, which was relentless. I should have took the bar pad.
3, 2, 1, push, 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 relax. Let's go! Push, 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 relax.
It was really interesting to see the difference in force on left to right. What I initially thought was my stronger side was actually naturally the weaker side. So that then allows me, I've got so much data I can work through to build into this next training block and obviously build into my strength routine of what I'm going to be doing ahead of Seville. So a couple of the exercises that Alex has referred to me post-assessment have been some dead leg skips and some alternating skips, of which I've done before. But one thing I wasn't probably doing was having the right intention with the movement.
Do you do much like ankle work, or what type of plyos do you do?
So I normally go from like pogo, single legs, lateral pogos.
As in like progressive in intensity, or you just do them?
Just do them, really. Just do them.
Yeah.
So for myself, that would be progressing that each week. It was a case of not just going through the motions, actually loading up a lot more, being a lot more forceful with the movement, so I can feel the difference as if it was another exercise like a deadlift or a squat in the gym. I'm trying to progress that. I'm trying to get stronger through that area. It's important, even as coaches, to have somebody have a look over those types of things, and it makes a massive difference.
Counter movement jump, obviously the first test we did, 44.1 centimetres. That's really strong from my perspective. Typically what you see with runners is that this counter movement jump is quite poor relative to their drop jump. And I say that with the caveat of runners who know how to move in a gym.
Yeah.
Because a lot of runners don't struggle to even actually complete the technical aspect of the testing. But yours is really balanced. So like, let's say that this was a lot lower. I'd maybe say, right, we need some more strength work in there, because your weakness in expressing vertical force is actually overcoming gravity, but it's not. You're really well balanced in the ability for you to drop, store the energy, reapply it, jump in the drop jump test. This would just be something that I'd track probably just as a single piece of data over time to either one, maintain that level as your strength work probably drops off a little bit as you go into through a marathon training block, or can we continue to see improvements in your counter movement jump alongside improvements in the other aspects and the key aspects of endurance based training. The drop jump, obviously you've got the jump height. When it's run all the data and cleaned it up a little bit, you've hit 3.1, which is really good, really good. So again, from a plyometric perspective, you maybe don't need to focus too much on max plyometrics, because it's one of them. It's like, as long as I'm ticking my box and maintaining that level, and I'm seeing improvements in other aspects. So it might be that we spend a block working on some of the lower level stuff and just maintaining these things, or some of the coordinative elements of the plyos, like we saw with the hop test. Like actually, right, can you repeat it over time? Can you do it as fatigue is accumulating?
A bit more exposure to that stuff,
Exactly. So then we've got the ankle iso push. If we look at left versus right, you've got an 8.9 or a 9% deficit, which isn't massive. Gold standard is within 5%, but typically in an uninjured population, you'll see anywhere between sort of 5 to 15% natural asymmetries from side to side. there's no major concerns there. When we look at the knee iso push, again, nothing major, less of a deficit at 6.3%. So it's just where we're at against body weight, really. So I've put the testing that we've done today in there. So you expressed 179 kilos of force on the left, 163 kilos of force on the right hand side. Relative to body weight, your left hand side was 2.33 times body weight and the right hand side was 2.12. So for that ankle iso push, from an endurance athlete perspective, you want to be over 2 times body weight. You are on both sides, but then there's other bits of information there in terms of normative values for male team sport athletes that sit at 3.1 to 3.3 and elite track athletes sit above 4. For me, I think we could there's value in pushing these up, particularly given we don't need to spend too much time on some of the other aspects that we've tested. And then similarly on the knee iso push, 3.61 and 3.38. Both past the normative value or the goal value for an endurance-based athlete, which sits at 2.5. But then your goals in your male team sport athletes is 4.2 to 4.4, and your elite track athletes is 5.5.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, your elite track athletes, they're talking sprinters at that top end there. But I think if we drive this up towards 4 and drive this up towards like 2.7, it creates a really nice position for you to be in. And also, if bilateral strength isn't a key priority in the next block of training, let's actually use your ISOs as you're training, and program the ISO work in there. But I think from my perspective all around, there's nothing I'm concerned about. It is just fine tuning things, making sure you move a little bit better in terms of your ability to shift your weight a little bit more. And I'll suggest some trunk work that'll complement that quite nicely for you. And then the bits that we found around the testing, that little bit left hip, a little bit right ankle, and then the motor control, the coordinated test through that posterior chain on the right hand side. But I'll pull it together and what I like to do is go, right, here's some ability bits that I recommend that you can put here and here. Here's some strength bits that you can implement into your training there. And then if you want to ping back any questions of, does this look right within a session? I typically put pair this type of stuff maybe with your plyos. Okay. So I'd maybe do like an ankle iso push on day 1 in the program, knee iso push on day 2, and have your plyos specific to them. So when you do your ankle iso push, it's more like your pogos, your drop jumps, your things like that. Whereas when you do your knee iso push, it might be more your deep tier plyometric, your box jump, that type of thing. Not that box jumps are plyometric, but expressing force more from a knee-based position than an ankle-based.
So as well as the exercises and movements that I've been referred to use and add into my current training block, my aims over the next 4 weeks, I've got a 10K, which is going to be this weekend, which I'm hoping to go for 35 minutes, depending on the day and how the body feels. Hopefully it comes through. We've then got a couple weeks till my half marathon, which is going to be in Oxford. The important factor with these is it's going to give me the data needed to help plan ahead. So if I can see I'm on track, or the extra work that's needed in and around different areas, whether that's building my aerobic base a bit more threshold or speed work, they're naturally going to come over the next training block. But it gives me the details of what's actually necessary. So that's going to be a big important factor over the next couple of weeks.